Yeah. All right, we're going to start by blowing the shofar, and then we'll say a Dvar Torah, a little thought. Today's the first day we blow shofar. Come on, sit down. All right. So a little thought and tell you why Sarah's here with me today and what we're going to talk about. So today is Sarah's birthday. It's not just Sarah's birthday, but it's a special birthday. It's the day that Sarah was born 12 years ago, and today she becomes a bat mitzvah. And it's interesting because the day of her birthday is the first day of Elul, and it's the day we start blowing shofar. And the reason we start blowing shofar, which is a very special and significant thing, is because the call of the shofar is supposed to remind us and awaken our souls to the time of the year. The holidays are coming, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. We have to prepare ourselves and awaken our souls to reconnect to God. The rabbis tell us that Elul is a time of cheshbon hanefesh. It's when we make an accounting. And it's when we realize and recognize what our past year was and how we can become better. Just like every business needs an accounting once a week, once a year, once a month, where you look through what went and how you could better yourself. And the rabbis tell us that in the month of Elul, the king is in the field. God is the most accessible possible. You have to go through all the chambers and all the special deeds you have to do in preparation. But in the month of Elul, God says, I'm here to connect, to listen, and to hear the cry of the shofar, the cry of the Jewish soul wanting to reconnect. And this is the day that Sarah was born, 12 years ago. And today she becomes a bas mitzvah. And it's not an ordinary bas mitzvah, because it's Corona time and things are unprecedented and unordinary. And yesterday we went to New York. We picked up Sarah on Wednesday from camp, and yesterday we took her to the Rebbe's gravesite to pray, and we made her a little party in New York for my family and for Gurney's family, whoever was around and whoever in a safe outdoor environment. And we're going to figure to do something for our community via Zoom or drive-by after the holidays. But I wanted to tell Sarah a story that I heard today. It happened many years ago, but I heard it today about someone that I know and connect to the shofar, and maybe a lesson for all of us. When I grew up in yeshiva, I learned in Lubavitcher Yeshiva. And one of my teachers, when I was in high school, in yeshiva high school, was a very famous rabbi, Rabbi Chaim Meir Buket. Chaim Meir Buket was a survivor of the Holocaust from Poland, and he survived by, like others, running away to Atvatsk in Japan, where they survived Nazis, and later coming to America. He's the patriarch of an illustrious family. His son, Rabbi Buket, is the Chabad rabbi in Lexington. His grandson is the Chabad rabbi in Arlington, and he has hundreds of children and grandchildren. So years ago, we would go in the summer to Parksville. There was a camp where he was the dean, and one year the camp wasn't taking place for whatever reason, and his daughter, who had just moved to California, was pleading with him, come spend the summer with us. And it wasn't like today where you just fly to the West Coast. It wasn't as easy. This was in the 70s probably. And also Rabbi Buket wasn't so keen on vacations. He was from the old school, a very Hasidic, holy man. But he thought his daughter pushed him. He asked the Rebbe. He said, I'll ask the Rebbe. He asked the Rebbe in a letter, what do you think I should do? And the Rebbe says that it would be kedai, it would be appropriate that he could go. So he comes to California, and that first Shabbos, his daughter's explaining him how the services are so different than he's used to from back in Poland, and back in New York. He had a shul in East Flatbush, etc., etc. And he comes to the shul and just comes sit up front with all the rabbis. He says, no, he wants to sit with the people. And he ends up chatting with the guy Tuvia. And through their chatting, Tuvia asks him, where are you from? And he says, I'm from Poland. He says, I'm also from Poland. My family's also from Poland. He says, we're from a little city called Chmelnik. Not Chelm, but different than Chelm. And Tuvi says, you won't believe it, but my family is also from a city of Chmelnik. In fact, I'm part of the Chmelnik society right here in Los Angeles, a little group. And Rabbi Bucket was an only son. And he turns to Tuvi and he says, Tuvi, you know, all my life, after the Holocaust, I've been trying to find someone who knew my parents, who lived Chmelnik, but I had a hard time finding anyone. Maybe someone in your society could tell me and find out someone who knew my parents in Chmelnik. So Shabbos is over on Thursday. Rabbi Bucket gets a call at the Chabad house. His daughter gets a call. This is a lady Chana. She's from the Chmelnik Society. And I have something very important to tell your father, and I'd prefer to meet him in person. They realize something serious, something special is going to happen. Rabbi Bucket tells his kids to put on Shabbos clothing. And I think that Sunday, they meet at the Chabad house. And this lady Chana, an elegant, charismatic, older lady, comes in, and she says, you know, I knew your parents very well back in Chmelnik. And I remember the days before we were rounded up, how they started rounding up all the Jews. And they rounded us up, and me and my daughter and your mom ended up in the same boxcar that was taking us to Treblinka, to the gas chambers in Treblinka. And we're in the boxcar, and I realized that on top, there's a small window. And the small window, there was, every little while the train slowed down, and I thought that maybe if we wanted, we could try to climb out and jump out of the train as it slows down and maybe be saved instead of ending up in Treblinka and dying. So I turned to your mother, Rachel, Rabbi Bucket's mother, and I tell her, what do you think? Well, maybe come with us. And Mrs. Bucket says, Ich bin schon alt, I'm already old. I can't, I don't have the strength, you go. And again, the train slows down again, and I turn to her again, and I say, maybe you come with us. And again, Rebbetzin Rachel says, I'm already old. You go. And then she turns me to face her, and she looks me in the eye. And she says, listen to me. You and your daughter go. And if you ever happen to come encounter with my son Chaim Meir, somehow after the war, and you meet him, I want you to tell him that mir haben gemacht a Zeicher. We made an imprint in this world. We made memories in this world. What we did was not in vain. And the Nazis could never take away those memories, those imprints, those impact that we made in this world. This woman Chana turns to Rabbi Bucket, who you can imagine is beside himself now, and his children, and she says, after the war, I always wondered and thought, will the day come when I will encounter Rachel's son and be able to tell him his mother's last words? Because after that, we jumped out of the train. I hoisted my daughter up, and then I jumped, and miraculously we survived the war. But I wondered, will I be able to find Rabbi Bucket's, Rachel Bucket's son, to be able to tell him? And now that I meet you and your family, I realize how right your mother was. She made an imprint. She made an impact that continues to grow. Today, Rabbi Bucket's family, he already passed away, unfortunately. But his children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, hundreds of them, are emissaries of the Rebbe all over the world, rabbis, teachers. And the imprint, the impact, the zeicher that his mother made, his parents made, is continuing. And in a way, that's the call of the shofar. And that's the message I want to give Sarah on the day of her bas mitzvah. She says, I have to sit here and listen to your whole boring speech just to get a message? I guess it comes with the territory. The shofar is here to remind us, to awaken our soul that we are here in this world to make an impact, to make a difference, to change the world. Sarah, today's your bas mitzvah. We don't know why Hashem blessed us that your bas mitzvah should take place in such circumstances. But what we know is that whatever circumstances Hashem gives us, and whatever environment we're in, we're here to make a zeicher, to make an imprint, to make an impact, to change this world, to leave the world better than we got it. Today you become a bas mitzvah. You become responsible for the things you do. You're a grown-up. You're not anymore a child. Yes, you're still a child. And you'll be my child forever. But you're a grown-up. You take responsibility and you take initiative. And I want you to remember those words that Rachel Booker told this woman before, in her last words, before she ended up in Treblinka. Remember to make a zeicher. I give you a blessing that in your life, you should always make an impact. You should always make an imprint. You should always do things that change the world for good, for you, for your family, the Jewish people, and for all society. And to all of us, the Shofar is waking us up today. In 30 days will be Rosh Hashanah. What impact, what imprint are we leaving in this world? This is the time to wake up and to think about what's important, what we really want to leave in this world, and how we're going to do it. My friends, the first Shabbos of Elul, it's a special time. I hope you can join us tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. for a social distance mask wearing services. And next week we'll give you more details about our high holiday plans. Sarah, Mazel Tov, I love you. And we will do something for the community. Stay tuned to celebrate this amazing, beautiful girl becoming a bat mitzvah. Shabbat Shalom.